Hey, I am Sarah. Welcome back to Thrills and Kills Booktube. I am doing this from the floor today. I am having a hard time trying to figure out what I want to do with my whole little setup. I have a very small home office, so I can really just have these two little bookshelves here, but it looks weird when I film. So anyways, that's why I am on the floor today. Gives a little bit better of a background. That being said, today I am going to go over everything that is in my Kindle. About a year ago, I started buying and adding more stuff to my Kindle, or actually, to be fair, it's the Kindle app on an old iPad. And I keep forgetting that I have stuff on there. Like, I really just think about my TBR as in like the physical books on my bookshelves, and I keep forgetting that I have all these great books on there. So I wanted to go through and kind of like remind myself what's on there, but also share with you all some really interesting books. So let's get going. In total, I have 66 books. I'm not going to give you descriptions of all 66 because we would be here for like 3 hours and I don't have time for that. But I have 66 unread Kindle books on there. 20 of them are from Kindle Unlimited. 5 are advanced reader copies that I got through NetGalley. I've talked about a few of those on here. The oldest book I have on there, I added it October of 2021, and that is The Patient. I actually got that through Prime Reading, where like every month you can pick, is it 1 or 2 books you can add for free? So because I have an Amazon Prime membership, like millions of people on the planet. And then I wanted to call out a few books on here I really got for fantastic deals. I kind of like I'll put them in my cart and then I'll kind of just watch to see if the price changes, and then you can sign up to get daily emails on Kindle deals. So these are books I paid for. These were not part of Kindle Unlimited, but these were all about $3 or less. So I got Mary for $2.12. Night of the Mannequins was $3.19. This is all US dollars. The Toll, we'll go over that, was $3.19. Prosper's Demon, $3.19. Brother, I actually got 2 Anya Alborn. Brother and I Call Upon Thee were both $2.12. And then everything else was like maybe like $8 or $9 or more. Now a few of the books I have specific plans for, so we'll get into that. But honestly, most of these 66 books are just kind of like sitting in no man's land on my Kindle app waiting for me to get to them, and I don't know if it's ever going to happen, so we'll see. All right, let's get into it. The first book I want to talk about this is a nonfiction book. So if you're looking for something to read in nonfiction November, it's also very salient with current affairs going on in the news. This is Midnight in Chernobyl, the untold story of the world's greatest nuclear disaster. Now, obviously the Chernobyl meltdown happened a long time ago. It happened within my lifetime. But we all are hopefully aware that there is an ongoing war in Ukraine. So I wanted to talk about this book because this has a special place in my heart. I've mentioned it in passing, but not gone into too much detail. But in March of this year, I went to Ukraine with a humanitarian group. I am a registered nurse, and I went over there to provide medical care for 3 weeks to refugees. I learned a little bit of Ukrainian, so nachui moskali, if you know what that means. I made a lot of good friends. Ate some good food, learned some good swear words in Ukrainian, but most importantly, touched a lot of lives and took care of people. So I have really enjoyed learning more about the history of Ukraine. I've listened to a few books on Audible since I've been back, and I recently added this book. I'm kind of going like from most recently added to the oldest book on here. So I recently added this one and I want to get to it. Now I heard that this is, sorry, I need to look at the description. I've heard that this is particularly good at breaking down kind of hour by hour what happened. So this is written by journalist Adam Higginbotham. It draws on hundreds of hours of interviews conducted over the course of more than 10 years, as well as letters, unpublished memoirs, and documents from recently declassified archives. Adam Higginbotham has written a harrowing and compelling narrative which brings the disaster to life through the eyes of men and women who witnessed it firsthand. Says it's a masterful nonfiction thriller. So this happened April 1986, so actually just before I was born. I lied. But this was through Kindle Unlimited, so you could get it there. And actually, so I have a lot of tattoos, but I don't know if you can see this. This is the Ukrainian, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like their national emblem. This is called the Trizub, and it actually spells the word Volya, which means like freedom or like free will or independence. So it's kind of like in America, we have the bald eagle as like our like national symbol. They've got the Trizub, I can never say it right, but it's like on their passports, it's on their money, it's everywhere. So anyways, moving on. Next book I want to talk about. I'm excited about this. This is called Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. I am going to be reading this with the Grimm Readers Book Club, which is like we just discuss books over on Instagram in a group chat. It's for the month of November. Two sisters raised in fear are about to find out why in a chilling novel of psychological suspense. Ignorant of civilization and cautioned against its evils, 19-year-old Wren and her two sisters, Sage and Evie, were raised in off-the-grid isolation in a primitive cabin in upstate New York. When the oldest grows gravely ill, their mother leaves with the child to get help from a nearby town, and they never return. As months pass, hope vanishes. Supplies are low. Livestock are dying. A brutal winter is bearing down. Then comes the stranger. He claims to be looking for the girl's mother, and he's not leaving without them. To escape, Wren and her sister must break the rule they've grown up with, never go beyond the forest. And I don't want to read much more. First of all, I love culty books or cult adjacent. I grew up, we moved a lot as a kid, but I grew up between Vermont and New York, like right on the border of both states, moving back and forth. And when I was living in New York, we lived 2 towns over from the town of Stillwater, New York, which is in upstate New York. And I don't know if the title Stillwater Girls refers to them living in the town of Stillwater, New York. If it does, it's certainly a small town, but it's not like primitive middle of nowhere. So I'm just kind of curious. Like you're not even quite up at the Adirondacks yet. That I would say is primitive middle of nowhere. But either way, it's got good reviews and I'm excited to read this book. Another book I recently added due to peer pressure from the Books of Horror Facebook group. This is called Left to You by Daniel Volpe. I hope I said that right. I also got this through Kindle Unlimited. So I feel like it's a really good value. So this is a quick little book, 30-ish pages, and it's supposed to be bleak, which I like bleak and disturbing stuff. And it just gets recommended a lot over on that Facebook group, and the author himself is active in that group. And what would you do to save a loved one? Robert's mother, Helen, is ravaged with cancer. Every day could be her last, and Robert dreads losing the last member of his family. Robert's friend and Holocaust survivor, Joseph, tells him an unholy story and leaves him away to save his dying mother. But as with everything in life, the salvation comes with a steep price. Will Robert accept what's left to him and save his mother? Or will the cost be too high, weighing Robert's soul down to the depths of hell? Hey! So, that sounds good. It's free either with Kindle Unlimited or it looks like, it's only $3.99 if you were just gonna buy the Kindle book outright. So, good deal either way. This next one, I am not quite sure what to expect out of this because I'm not sure if it's supposed to read like a true crime, like nonfiction book, or is it a novel that's trying to pretend to be a nonfiction book similar to like Chasing the Boogeyman. That one didn't quite work for me, so we'll see how this one goes. But this is True Crime by Samantha Kolesnik, and this was $3.99 on Kindle. Susie and her brother, Lim, live with their abusive mother in a town where the stars don't shine at night. Once the abuse becomes too much to handle, the two siblings embark on a sordid cross-country murder spree, beginning with their mom. Sorry, Mom. As the murder tally rises, Susie's mental state spirals into irredeemable madness. And I don't think I want to read much more than that. It's only 158 pages, so that'll be a quick read. I have seen that kind of pop up here and there between like Books of Horror and Reddit. So it's been on my radar for a bit. And like I said, I just saw that it was like a Kindle deal of the day. And I thought, okay, for $4, I'm willing to try it and see if I like
it.
So some of these books, I'm not going to give you the full description because I've talked about them before. Recently, I did a reading vlog at the end of October, and it focused on books that were like Halloween-y or like harvesty. So I did Harvest Home, which I got and I have on my Kindle, October's Harvest, which was through Kindle Unlimited, and This is Halloween, which was also through Kindle Unlimited. Well, those three. So those were all included in the Unlimited package. I'm not going to go into detail. I didn't really like them. You can go watch the video. I also got through Kindle Unlimited The Watchers by A.M. Shine. I read that in October through the Grim Readers Book Club. Really enjoyed that book. It's in my wrap-up video from last month. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we would be here forever. I also have on here, let's see, Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. I read that at the beginning of October. I read it in one day. I loved it. I think I gave it like 4 or 4.5 stars. It was my first Darcy Coates. As far as arcs, I have Holy Ghost Road, Gothic, Starvation Heights, and The Haunting of Alejandra. I also recently did a video where I went over all of the arcs I recently got through NetGalley. I need to start with reading Gothic. Some other stuff on here that I'm not going to go into too much detail. I have, let's see, Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. A lot of people probably know that book. Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. Okay, I do have My Best Friend's Exorcism on here. There was sort of a package deal where you could get the Kindle book and the Audible version, and then what is it called, Whisper Sync, where it knows where you're at and you can switch back and forth between the two. So those are a few that I'm not going to go into too much detail because I've either talked about them or people are aware what they are. Okay, so let's talk about this next book, Mary. So like I said, I got this for $2.12. It was on sale. Right now, if I were to try and buy this, it is $12.99 for Kindle. Which at that point, I would just buy the paperback or hardback. All right, Nat Cassidy's highly commercial debut horror novel, Mary in a Waking of Terror, blends Midsummer with elements of American Psycho in a pinch of I'll Be Gone in the Dark. That's a good book. I have that over here. Mary is a quiet, middle-aged woman doing her best to blend into the background. Unremarkable, invisible, unknown even to herself. That's really sad, Mary. But lately, things have been changing inside Mary. Along with the hot flashes and body aches, she can't look in a mirror without passing out, and the voices in her head have been urging her to do unspeakable things. Fired from her job in New York, she moves back to her hometown, hoping to reconnect with her past and inner self. Instead, visions of terrifying, mutilated specters overwhelm her with increasing regularity, and she begins auto-writing strange thoughts and phrases. Mary discovers that these experiences are echoes of an infamous serial killer. Then the killings begin again. Mary's definitely going to find herself. So obviously that description is very compelling and sounds great. I will tell you, the sole reason I bought this book is Jordaline at Jordaline Reads. Loved it. So totally fell to peer pressure. This next book, quite honestly, I don't even remember how I came across this. It was somewhere on social media. So either it was like Horror Lit Reddit or Books of Horror Facebook group. Someone mentioned this. It's part of a series, but they were saying that this first book is the best book and just to read it as a standalone. So this is The Fall of the House of Crane by Cindy Wingett. It's the first book in the series. I don't know how many books are supposedly in this series. And I got this through Kindle Unlimited as well. Dr. John Montague is on a mission to uncover the truth behind the afterlife, and Hill House is where he'll find it. I'm laughing because The Haunting of Hill House is my all-time favorite book. So obviously this is a retelling or is going to draw very heavily from Shirley Jackson. The 80-year-old mansion's even the time frame, 80 years is Hill House in Shirley Jackson's book. The 80-year-old mansion's warped exterior hides a soul just as gnarled and twisted. His 3 assistants help him discover the source of the house's supernatural forces. Dr. Montague intends to live inside the crumbling building until he has the proof he needs. But when they hear incessant knocking on the walls at all hours of the night, A bloody message is found scrawled across a wall, and a friend begins to go mad. Dr. Montague fears he's in over his head. He calls his ex-wife for help, who is an accomplished medium. This is like line for line what happens in Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. But that only seems to awaken the house further. Can he unmask Hill House's secrets before it drives him mad, or will he become one more casualty to its horrors? Thriller and suspense lovers will fall victim to this mashup between The Haunting of Hill House and Select Stories by Edgar Allan Poe. I don't think I read the description when I bought this. I think someone told me it was good and it was Kindle Unlimited, so I just hit purchase or like add to library. My concern is, will it be too much just a straight retelling of the original Haunting of Hill House and just won't have anything original to say? That's my concern, because like literally this plot is line for line. The plot of the original Haunting of Hill House is just from Dr. Montague's perspective rather than Eleanor's perspective. Even down to the ex-wife, or in the original book, it's the current wife, but the wife being a medium. And the blood on the walls, like that all is from the original book. And again, it's my favorite book of all time, so this book is gonna have to really come in hot and perform pretty well to live up to my expectations of the original. Okay, next, also from Kindle Unlimited, The Root Witch by Deborah Castaneda. I added this last month. Again, I have no idea how I came across this book. It's 1986. Two strangers, hundreds of miles apart, grapple with disturbing incidents in a one-of-a-kind quaking aspen forest. Knox is a new Forest Service ranger assigned to a vast, remote territory in Utah. Sandy is a producer fighting for her place in a tough TV newsroom. Both have heard about the shadowy figure believed to menace visitors to the forest. When a man disappears and reports of the Root Witch begin coming in, Knox and Sandy are plunged into a living nightmare. Their lives converge on Halloween. Sandy sends a news crew to investigate the sightings, but when the team goes missing and a shocking video surfaces revealing the ghastly truth, Knox and Sandy face the biggest decision of their lives. I wonder if it has anything to do with like the Blair Witch Project, like if it drew any inspiration from there. This was just published in September, 297 pages. What I like is, what does it say? That the Knox is a Forest Service ranger. So I feel like I have a tattoo to go along with all of these. So this is the National Park Service badge. Took a little bit of artistic license, but so I feel like that'll be the tattoo for the Root Witch, and then this will be the tattoo for Midnight at Chernobyl. This one is not through Kindle Unlimited. I bought this book for $3.19, and this is The Toll by Sherry Priest. And I came across this. It was recommended on the Books of Horror Facebook group, which is like really the preeminent place. If you're not gonna get your book recommendations from Booktube, then you need to go to that Books of Horror. Take a road trip into a Southern Gothic horror novel. Okay, we're already off to a good start. Titus and Melanie Bell are on their honeymoon and have reservations in the Okefenokee Swamp Cabins for a canoeing trip. Which, put a pin in it. If you're not a Southerner, go look up the description of this book, and I dare you to try and figure out how to pronounce that. Okefenokee is what I've always been told it is, so anyway. Shortly before they reach their destination, the road narrows into a rickety bridge with old stone pilings with room for only one car. Much later, Titus wakes up lying in the middle of the road with no bridge in sight. Melanie is missing. When he calls the police, they tell him there is no such bridge on Route 177. And that's it. That's the description. Which I kind of like, that even the description itself is like cliffhanger. I don't want to know a whole lot before I go into a book. Or even like a movie. I don't want to watch like a 2-minute long trailer. I feel like then I've seen the whole movie. So 330 pages. Okay, the next little group of books let's talk about. I think this one was just recommended to me. You know how Amazon will, like, based on what you bought previously, will recommend stuff to you? I bought this book for $3, and this is Prosper's Demon by KJ Parker. Okay. In a botched demonic extraction, they say the demon feels it 10 times worse than the man, but they don't die, and we do. Equilibrium. Okay. The unnamed and morally questionable narrator is an exorcist with a great follow-through and few doubts. His methods aren't delicate, but they're undeniably effective. He'll get the demon out. He just doesn't particularly care what happens to the person. Prosper of Chance is a man of science determined to raise the world's first philosopher king, reared according to the purest principles. Too bad he's demonically possessed. Okay, and that's the description. 106 pages. Oh, that's like easy peasy really quickly. 106 pages. And it actually looks like it's a series because, yeah, it says there's 2 books. So this is Prosper's Demon, and then the second book is Inside Man. Someone said it's as if Deadpool slipped into the body of the Witcher. Okay, that's quite a description. So, for only a few dollars, if it sucks, whatever. Hey, my bookish friends. So this is now Sarah from the future. I sat down to edit this video and realized this needs to be 2 parts because it was over an hour of raw footage. So this is part 1 of everything that's on my Kindle. Part 2 will be up shortly in a few days or next week. So if you're interested, you can go check that out. But in the meantime, this is half or roughly half of what is on my Kindle and what I need to make time to get to and clear out my backlog. So that's everything I have for you today. I hope you guys are having a great month of reading, that you're gearing up for your holiday and it's not too stressful. So let me know down below, have you started your holiday shopping already? I have not. I am notoriously a procrastinator. So that's all I have today. Have a good one, friends.